basically like a field trip, but it's more hands-on learning, and it's like real-world experiences.
Field experience, I think, is when you go out into the real world and put what you've learned in class into real situations.
To me, a field experience is where we have been learning about something in the classroom, and so we get to step outside of the classroom and see where people are doing this in real life. So it takes it away from let's learn it just because we want to learn it, and it becomes let's connect with somebody in the world that's really doing this.
I think field experiences are important not just because they cater to like a certain learning style as well, but because we're global citizens. We have to learn what's happening around us, even if it's just our neighborhood.
At GCE, we are global citizenship. So you can't become a global citizen if you're not out in the world and you're not applying what you've learned.
Field experiences help me learn more in the classroom because we're seeing it and we're being a part of it. So when we learn it in class, we're using it as well. And I think that's really cool.
Field experiences make me a better teacher because everything I teach has to have a reason, has to have a purpose. And I can't just throw something in there because it's fun. I have to say, well, actually, this is a real world scenario where you need this skill. You need to know these terms because we're gonna talk to this person. We're gonna talk to an expert who uses this kind of information in their everyday life.
With these FEs, I also learned more about Chicago and how it's all connected with transportation.
When I had my first field experience, I never took public transportation, so it was very new to me. And I feel like now, since I went to like many other field experiences, I'm like very comfortable on doing that.
Me myself, like being on these past FEs for the past 2 years, has like really helped me because I can really interact with people better, because before I could not interact with people like in the public, but these FEs helped me like interact with others more. So.
My favorite field experience was when I was a freshman. We went to the Lincoln Park community shelter, and we made food for people who were homeless living in the shelter. I really enjoyed that FE, not just because we went outside, but because we were helping these people and we were talking with them, just learning about their situations and how we were helping them. And hearing them say that they enjoyed our food was really heartwarming, and it made me want to do more things like that.
My favorite field experience has been in sophomore year in food, where we went to Patchwork Farm, and I loved it so much. I love getting hands-on and dirty, and I just loved being outside and learning about gardening and being able to help out a community in doing so and providing food for that community. It was awesome.
My favorite field experiences was the Museum of Surgical Science for the class disease, my sophomore year. And the reason I like that FE because it really was intriguing to the fact that the different surgeries that they did back in time and how they didn't have anesthesia and stuff, it just opened my eyes to something new because I never thought about what happened back then.
My favorite field experience is when we went to this play in the Goodman Theater, because I'm not much of like a political person and I don't know much about what's happening, and that play kind of helped me open up and see things that I haven't seen before.
I think one of the best ones was going to the cemetery. So for our class population, when I was a sophomore, we went to a cemetery and collected data about the population from 1800 to 1900. So we collected names, birthdays, and death days, and sexes, and then we graphed out the average life expectancy of people in Chicago at that time. And it was really interesting because we were actually walking around the cemetery and taking notes and everything, but we also got to go really in depth afterwards when we were looking over the data that we found. So we got to talk about for most people, there was a huge drop in life expectancy for men around the 1850s and 60s, and because of the Civil War, which is really interesting because we don't usually think about that impact in Illinois or Chicago, but it really had an impact on the whole country.
My favorite food experience was going to the refugee exhibit, and the reason why that's my favorite was because it was an experience where we were able to learn, but also emotionally feel that connection. Because just seeing and like going through the exhibit and feeling that emotion of you being there kind of like reached into me more, and I just really felt that like from any other food experience I've been on.
My dream field experience would be going to Six Flags probably for design and engineering, because roller coasters have a lot of physics involved in them, and you know, it's Six Flags, so it's fun.
I think a dream field experience would to be go to the Human Rights Campaign in Washington, D.C. That's like my dream job. I think they do so much important stuff there, and I've always wanted to go, and I think it really could connect to like pretty much any class.
I want to tie it back to GC, and something that we've learned about a lot are the SDGs, MDGs. So I would love to have an FE with the UN and I don't know, like the branch members, and talk to them about how the SDGs are going and what we can do to help.